Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Collab, hopeful goodness time, in the form of... Let's get to it. Where is it? Oh, man. I think I'd remember these things before I actually click record. Definitive and, as you can tell from the label, Burlington Beer Company beer. It's soft ambient music. Oat milk. India Pale Ale. Let me see if I can find it. They date their cans. I know they do. But they date them, they stamp them on the labels. And their labels usually have a lot going on. So I could not find the date on this can. So maybe this one didn't. Half the time I'll be halfway through the review and I will see the date and I'll call it out. I think this has a little bit of time on it though. But if you don't date your cans or you can't find it, that's on you, Burlington, not me. I think this is from December. We're in the beginning of April right now. We're still going to review it. It says soft ambient music. I love soft ambient music, so that's why I picked it up. Plus a little oat milk IPA coming in. Oh, 7%. I thought it was going to be lower in ABV. Because it says soft ambient music, and I think oat milk. I just think of things that aren't as robust. That's on me. And I think that's it. I don't think they go story time or anything on this. Burlington Beer Company with the Definitive Brewing Company. Product of Vermont. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Let's see what the color looks like. So you're talking about, that's going to tell you a tale. Not that this beer couldn't be a little bit darker to begin with, but usually they tend to come off a little bit darker like that when they have a little bit of time on them. Label-wise, I really do enjoy Burlington's take on labels, the whole pinstripey kind of thing. The illustrative, thick outline, almost tattoo flash mixed with 50s pinstriping. I've always dug it. Beer-wise, definitely comes off a little bit darker than what you want for a 7% lactose hazy oat milk. Are they using oat milk? Like oat and lactose? I don't know if that's it or if it's just tons of oat or oat milk. I don't know. But it looks the part of slightly oxidized kind of hazy. Index finger, barely off-white head, rich orange core. Let's get a nose. Yeah, kind of melange of fruits leaning tropical. Bit of soft sweetness, that kind of confectionery sweetness that oat slash lactose can bring to a beer. And then that is pretty much it. There's not a big negative connotation to it as far as oxidation goes. No wet paper bag, any of that typical stuff you get. You can see the hops being a little bit punchier for 7%. It comes off as a softer, like 5-6% hazy beer kind of perception on the nose, at least aromatically. That could be a little bit of oxidation kind of tempering that based off the look. Could be the case. But it doesn't smell bad. It smells like this nice, soft little hazy. Kind of makes sense. The title of the beer. Let's just dive in. Cheers, y'all. Yeah, it's definitely past its prime. Not a negative beer by any stretch of the imagination, but it definitely has, there's something. You could tell there was more to it. Let's put it that way. You could tell by drinking there was more to it when it was fresher. It's lost a little bit of fluffiness, creaminess. Again, that's a product of oxidation. The hops here, you can tell there was a decent fruitiness. I would imagine there was actually a pretty bursting fruitiness to this beer. And while it still sings of fruit, it's tempered. You can tell it's quite a bit restrained. That kind of oat milk slash touch of lactose kind of thing is still there. It's not overpowering. That's the cool part about using those ingredients in these beers. It acts as a softer sweetness rather than a sharper sweetness. So I think that helps this beer out with it being slightly oxidized. A little bit of tannic bittering, almost like tea-like. That's even probably the biggest kind of tip of the cap of a bit of oxidation going on here. Because, if you're oxidation is gonna do a couple different things in your beers. Typically, your hazies the mouthfeel is gonna go away, that coloration is gonna come out, and your fruits are gonna die off on the hops. They're still here. That's why I think it was bursting at the seams when it was fresher. But that tannic part, the tea, like the bittering, even if it's gonna be more West Coastiness, that's gonna stick around quite a bit more longer than that fruit portion of the show. So you get a little bit of kind of tannic hoppiness kind of showing itself, showing its cards with that little bit of oxidation. And, all in all, if we're talking about, a several month old, you're talking about we're 4 or 5 month old beer we're guessing at here. The first check-in for Untapped this year was December 15th, so I'm using that as the kind of test bed. And for being that old and being touched with this amount of oxygen, there's no hop creep, there's no diacetyl, there's none of the things that typically will rear its head on a hazy when it starts to go a little bit kind of, I don't want to call south because the beer's still tasting. You're like, well, I'm going to drink this whole can. It's kind of a testament to how well, I guess, they make their hazies. I mean, maybe that sounds like a little backhanded compliment if the Burlington and Definitive watch this, but it's impressive for the beer to be at this state and still be a tasty bevy. Yeah, not too bad for the state it's in. Again, as I am, two notes. As I always say, don't put a date in the can. That's it. This is the beer that, if you don't put a date on a can, you're telling me this beer is just as tasty as day one as it is day 180. That's what you're saying. That's absolutely 100% what you're saying. If you don't put a date in a can, if it's 9 years old, you're saying at 9 years old it's going to be just as good because we don't have to date it. It's that stable. That's what you're saying. If you give me Best By dates, you're saying the Best By date is like whatever, some arbitrary date in the future. You're telling me that beer is good as day one to that last day. That's why Best By dates suck too. So I can sit here and kind of ho and hum about dates and time and how it's still held up and all that stuff, but it's on Burlington to date their cans. And sometimes date their cans in a way you can actually find a date. But with the assumption being laid out that this is a bit older, still holding up pretty decently. There you go. Is it one of the better hazies I've had as of late? It's not Mount Rushmore status. It's fine. Like I said, I'm going to drink the whole can. I want to see what it's like at its freshest. Value to availability, it's like $14-15. Off the shelf, Burlington stuff. You get decent amount in Jersey and PA. And leave it with if you like you like this. If you like hazies with a little bit of time on them, I guess. Burlington, Definitive. Have you been to the breweries? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? That's very important. What did you think of this beer? Hey, did you have it fresh? Have you had it lately? Let's have that discussion down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of a hazy oat milk beer right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.